This is the Brewers POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Milwaukee Brewers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
The American League's best pitching versus the National League's best pitching. And the result, ladies and gentlemen, in this one was one mistake from Milwaukee is the difference in the ball game. A 5-0 loss in Texas to the Rangers in game one of this series. We will certainly break down what went right, what didn't go right for our Brewers. The good news, though, Christian Yelich back in the lineup in this one. Some good news and some good numbers from Christian Yelich that we will dive into. And, it was a bad loss. Texas is playing good as of late. They're a playoff team right now. The good news, despite losing, is the Cubs also lose this evening. So no harm, no foul in the race for the National League Central Division. The Brewers still 7.5 games up. So we will talk about the magic numbers dwindling down for our Brew Crew, including throughout Major League Baseball, where their magic number is for the top spot, and the National League as well. And of course, your thoughts, your reactions, all welcomed in on the program. Hello, everyone, and welcome into the Locked On Brewers POSTCAST. My name is Brandon Snide. You can follow me on X, formerly Twitter, at Brandon_Snide, and follow all my work over at WTMJ.com, where we cover all of our Wisconsin sports teams. As always, the Locked On Brewers POSTCAST is free and available wherever you guys get audio podcasts, Apple, Google, Spotify, Amazon. Wherever you get audio podcasts, you can get the Locked On Brewers POSTCAST as well. And we are free and available over on YouTube as well. So if you're on the YouTube live stream right now, thank you. Hit that subscribe button. If you haven't done so already, smash that thumbs up, even though it was a tough loss tonight for our Brew Crew. We'll break all of it down, and including, as I mentioned, your thoughts, your reactions on the program. A 5-0 loss to the Rangers in Arlington, Texas. 89-56 now are our Brew Crew overall. So still searching for win number 90, but I do have a feeling they'll get to it rather quickly. Let's get into your scoring summary this evening in a 5-0 loss brought to you by Monarch Money and Zip Picks, and really a pitching duel for both of these squads, Jacob Latz and Jose Quintana for Milwaukee, and nothing going for either one of these teams up until the fifth inning, and that's when the ball game was changed. And it's not going to be the turning point. It easily could be tonight's turning point in a 5-0 loss. I felt really bad in the moment here for Jose Quintana. Jacob Latz shutting the Brewers down in the top half of the fifth inning, but that would take us to the bottom half of the fifth inning, and it felt like the game was sort of changed. And I know I could easily pinpoint the turning point in this one because that's where the Rangers would plate 4 runs. It began with a Jake Burger pop-out in foul territory where Andrew Vaughn and Bryce Terrain kind of met, and both of them kind of overran the ball, and it was dropped and went off the heel of the glove from Bryce Terrain. Usually catches that probably 9 out of 10 times. And then a couple pitches later, Jose Quintana would walk Jake Burger. Eventually, another base hit. The Texas Rangers would load the bases, and that would get the scoring started for this game as Michael Helman would homer to left field, 381 feet, a grand slam, a 4-0 advantage there for the Texas Rangers in this one. I mentioned at the beginning of the show, kind of like the Brewers, they have the best pitching in the American League. They're chasing a playoff spot right now and within the division. It's a really good team playing really good baseball coming into this one. The Rangers had won 11 of their last 14. Obviously tonight, 12 of their last 15 now with the 5-0 win over the Brewers. They would plate another run later in the 7th inning. Another Helman double would get the Rangers on the board once again. So the Rangers doing damage in this one. But I do want to talk about the turning point in this one because I felt like before that run there in the 7th for the Rangers, the Brewers did have an opportunity to make this one interesting and failed to do so. Let's talk about it.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
I mentioned the Helman grand slam in the 5th, and certainly you can pinpoint that as being the turning point. Really feel bad for Jose Quintana. He had not allowed a base runner up until that Jake Burger walk. He had not allowed a hit up until that fifth inning as well. He was really, really dealing, was Jose Quintana. So you felt for him, but the Brewers fall into that 4-0 hole. And the sixth inning is kind of my turning point because nothing may have happened, but it felt like that was the Brewers' kind of last grasp at anything within this game. You had guys on second and third, William Contreras at the plate, 2 outs, and Blake Perkins, the ball scoots away from the Rangers catcher, and it felt like Blake Perkins was being a little bit too aggressive on the base pass, trying to advance from second base to third base, and was thrown out at third base, made the third and final out at third base. I don't know if anything's going to happen after that, right? You could easily say, well, based on the way that the Brewers were performing offensively with, the 6 hits that they had this evening, nothing may have happened for Milwaukee offensively speaking. 0 for 1 with runners in scoring position. They only left 4 on base, but 2 of them that they left on base out of the 4 total in the game were in that 6th inning. And it felt like down 4-0. If there was going to be a moment for William Contreras, if there was going to be a moment for this team, and who knows what would have happened, and we'll never obviously know now because the game is over, and Blake Perkins was thrown out at third base. But usually this is a team, Blake Perkins included, that is very aggressive on the base pass. They're very sure, they don't make a ton of mistakes on the base pass. That one felt like being a little bit too aggressive. I understand in the moment where Blake Perkins was, the ball scooted away, from the catcher, from behind the plate, and it just popped at the perfect angle for him to scoot. It was to his left, Blake Perkins is right, and just made a perfect throw, a perfect tag at third base, and that ended the Brewers' threat in the 6th inning. We mentioned Helman added another run in the 7th, but Helman really doing all the damage today, offensively speaking, for the Rangers. At one point in this game, the Rangers were up 4-0 after that grand slam from Helman. It was only their second hit of the game, and they had a 4-0 advantage on Milwaukee. So it was kind of just one of those nights, offensively speaking, and you tip your cap to both of these starters. Like, if you're going to give a player of the game, and if we're going to do it, and I know Jose Quintana gave up the grand slam, and who knows what would have happened and what would have transpired in that inning had Bryce Train make that first out in the inning, and does things change? Does the approach change going forward in that inning for Jose Quintana? But both of these pitchers were absolutely lights out. We begin with the winning pitcher, Jacob Latz, 5 2/3 innings pitched, just the 3 hits allowed for the Brewers, and he didn't allow a single run, striking out 4 along the way to secure his second win of the year. And Jose Quintana on the other side, a big question mark, a big point of emphasis throughout the course of the last, I would say, 2 to 3 weeks for all of us was these starters got to go a little bit deeper, got to get a little bit more out of our starting rotation. The bullpen's beat up. The bullpen is taxed. Guys are on the injured list. Jose Quintana tonight, despite giving up 5 earned total runs, including 4 with just the one simple mistake. And that's the thing that really kind of hurts, because it shouldn't have gotten to that point. I think Bryce Train will tell you he should have made that catch, and maybe that inning goes in a different direction. But nonetheless, Jose Quintana going 6 2/3 innings pitched, 4 hits, 5 earned runs, but none of that really happened until the 5th inning. I mean, he was pitching a very, very good game, a perfect game until that 5th inning, and things just kind of unraveled there for starter Jose Quintana for our Brewers. But I thought it was a great start for Quintana. I thought it was still a good outing for Jose Quintana. You didn't have to dip into your bullpen too early, as we had seen what this Brewers team has done. And Jose Quintana, Carlos Rodriguez, the only other pitcher out of the bullpen for Milwaukee. He gets the last inning and the third in this one. So, there's positives, right? It's a frustrating loss. Texas Rangers, again, 5 games over 500, playing better baseball as of late. And obviously, kind of chasing, a division, still within grasp of that division. They're 3.5 back. Results still pending this evening of the American League West, but they're still chasing a playoff spot. So it's a team that's playing better baseball as of late. You knew it wasn't going to be easy. You completed the 3-game sweep over the Pirates over the weekend, and Jacob Mizorowski looked really good on Sunday, and the vibes are going well for this team coming off of that series sweep over the Pirates. And you knew it was going to be a tough test down in Arlington, and certainly we saw that on display this evening, a 5-0 loss. But again, I still like the things that I saw. And real quickly, before we get into your thoughts and your reactions, because I see you guys lined up over on the YouTube chat, if you want to be positive about something, if there's going to be something that you look at and you're like, okay, like that happened and it was better than I thought. Christian Yelich this evening, back in the lineup for Milwaukee. He was only 1 for 4, but all 4 of those hits, I don't know what the last one, or excuse me, the ball's off the bat because he only had 1 of those hits, but I don't know what the last one registered. I know the first 3, all of them registering over 100 miles exit velo off of the bat of Christian Yelich. So if you're kind of concerned, okay, is the back injury a serious thing? Is that something that's going to linger? Is that something that's going to be, a question mark going forward as this team is chasing the National League Central Division? This team is chasing the number 1 spot in baseball within the National League. You certainly felt a little bit better with the Brewers, with Christian Yelich tonight, with some hard contact from number 22 for Milwaukee. So that's something to be positive. Obviously, the Cubs losing tonight in Atlanta, you still have a 7.5 game lead in the National League Central. Let's just quickly run down the Brewers' magic numbers as of tonight. Now things are still kind of wrapping up throughout baseball. Their magic number to clinch the National League Central down to 11. The National League 1 seed down to 13. 1 seed throughout baseball, 13, and they could clinch a postseason in 3. So still some things to be positive about when it comes to this Milwaukee Brewers team. A 5-0 loss to Texas, which was a pitcher's duel for half of this game. Really one mistake from Jose Quintana was the difference in this one, as the Brewers fall to 89 and 56 on the season. And again, 3-1 on their current road trip as it stands right now. So still some positive things going on, obviously, with the Brewers, despite the 5-0 loss this evening. We'll dive into your thoughts, your reactions, maybe some of your concerns. I'm curious where Brewers fans stand right now after a 5-0 loss. We'll dive into all of that coming up after this. Today's Locked On Brewers postcast is brought to you by Monarch Money. Most people can't name all of their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That is where Monarch Money comes in. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings you your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or on your phone. It's built for people like me with busy lives. If you put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. It does the heavy lifting. You can link all of your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. Don't let the financial opportunity slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONMLB. Today's Locked On Brewers postcast also brought to you by Zippix. Whether you're looking for nicotine satisfaction or an energy boost, Zippix has you covered with their nicotine and caffeine-infused toothpicks. For my nicotine users, it provides a discreet way to satisfy cravings and the hand-to-mouth habit without ever vaping or smoking. Zippix can be a helpful tool as you work to reduce your dependence on vaping. Available in 6 great flavors with 2 milligrams and 3 milligram nicotine options. And if you need energy without the crash, their caffeine toothpicks are a game changer. Go to zippixtoothpicks.com. Use code LOCKEDON for 10% off of your first order. Must be 21 or older to order. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. That's zippixtoothpicks.com. Promo code LOCKEDON. Zip more, smoke less with Zippix toothpicks. A 5-0 loss for our Brew Crew out there in Texas. They fall to the Rangers 89 and 56 on the season now after tonight's results. However, the good news, Christian Yelich back in the lineup. You didn't use much out of your bullpen. Jose Quintana tossing 6 2/3, allowing the 5 earned runs this evening. Carlos Rodriguez coming in for the last inning and a third. And the Cubs also losing this evening, so you do not lose any ground in the National League Central Division, and still 3-1 on the road trip. Game 2 tomorrow, they'll look to bounce back. Your thoughts, your reactions as we gather where you guys stand after this one, a 5-0 loss. We begin with Everydayer Nick. Can't load the bases and expect to go unscathed, but if you're going to do that, offense still has to come through. Wash it off, come back tomorrow, still 7.5 over the Cubs. And I think that's kind of right where I'm at as well with Everyday or Nick, because it's kind of one of those where it just kind of is what it is. After the Cubs lost, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm watching the game. Obviously after the grand slam, I checked the Cubs score right after that, and I saw that result was just about to go final. They were down 4-1. They obviously lose 4-1. And I was kind of like, okay, it's just kind of, it's one of those games, offensively speaking, for the Brewers where a lot of hard contact and just right at somebody and not able to kind of get anything going. Didn't have a lot of, guys on base this evening, only 4. They were 0 for 1 with runners in scoring position. Again, had an opportunity there, as we mentioned, as the turning point in the 6th inning where you kind of run into an out. Blake Perkins, that is, at third base. And that was kind of in that moment, I think Blake probably had it in his mind, like, let's get these guys in scoring position. Let me get to third. Let's get guys on second and third and get William Contreras, and a single cuts that lead in half. And I think that's where the mindset was. And unfortunately, the ball bouncing off the glove of Hine behind the dish in a perfect spot for him to grab it, make a great throw, and out was Blake Perkins. And that kind of eliminated the Brewers' threat on the base path. Everydayer Isaiah over on YouTube. Happy Quintana provided length at least to save the pen. He was dealing, man. I mean, Jose Quintana was dealing 38 pitches after 4 innings of work. I mean, I thought he was fantastic tonight. 85 thrown pitches over 6 2/3 innings. It was really just the one mistake. It was the one mistake from Jose Quintana. Again, we kind of talked about it. Does things change in that 5th if you get that first out on Jake Berger and Bryce Terrain's able to make that catch in foul territory, and you're down to 1 out and nobody on the bases? Would that have changed things? Again, we'll never know. But it was just one mistake for Jose Quintana. Helman makes him pay for it. A number 8 hitter this evening for the Rangers, and that was that. And you knew kind of in that moment, after they go up 4-0, after the Brewers kind of run into an out on, as we mentioned, with Blake Perkins trying to go from second to third. I think in that moment, everybody kind of knew that was the Brewers' one shot, and weren't really getting anything going offensively. Just 6 hits for the Brewers, but on the flip side, just 6 hits as well for Texas. They just needed that one swing though from Helman there in the 5th, and that was the big difference. Jim over on YouTube. Quintana never should have been on the mound after loading the bases in the 5th inning. I'm fine with what Pat Murphy did with Jose. Look, he was fantastic tonight, Jose Quintana. I know, you'll wake up, people, listen to the program, they'll look at the box score and they'll be like, 5 6 2/3. Like, it was one swing. Like, at that moment, I mentioned it, the Rangers had 2 hits and they had 4 runs. It was the one swing of the bat. Maybe he shouldn't have been in that position that he was at. So again, I don't fault manager Pat Murphy for that. I think I would have been, I'm completely fine with leaving Jose Quintana on the mound. The Cubs had lost. That game had went final midway through this one. So, there could have been some scoreboard watching where you're like, hey, let's kind of, it's been good, right? It's Quinn Priester's gone the distance. Freddie Peralta's gone, longer in games. Jacob Mizorowski going, 7 on Sunday. And then you get 6 2/3 from Jose Quintana, and you're setting up your bullpen for success down the road. Everydayer Cody over on YouTube. Looking at who the Rangers had on the IL, I wouldn't think we got kicked around. Cubs loss, great. Phillies win, don't like that for the number 1 seed, but regroup and go beat them tomorrow. And the Rangers have a ton on the injured list, and it hasn't stopped them, right? I mean, they've, again, before tonight, had won 11 of their last 14. They have been playing really good baseball. They have the best pitching overall in the American League. They're playing really good baseball. It's just one of those things where you play a team kind of at the wrong time. That's kind of where the Brewers are running into a little bit of a buzzsaw with the Rangers, and they're playing good baseball. And that's going to happen. You look at the Brewers, right? And it just kind of feels like the Brewers got brewered in this game, after allowing some guys on base and a couple of mistakes leading to runs being scored. And that's exactly what the Brewers have done to teams seemingly all season long. It really in the last, 3 months of the season or so, but kind of felt like the Brewers lost by the Brewers this evening in Texas. Everydayer GCAP going to be there. These next 2 games will bring good luck back to our side while I'm there. Crazy how one misplay can change the game. That was Terrain's ball all the way. GCAP, boots on the ground in Arlington, bringing us good luck. You better get the job done. If we lose tomorrow, GCAP, or on Wednesday, I don't want you checking back in on the program until we get a win while you're in attendance. Appreciate that as well. And yeah, I mean, that's just, for me, I'm kind of right there. Like it felt like a very quirky, mishap from Bryce Terrain that doesn't happen, quite a lot. And it kind of changed that whole inning and kind of changed the feeling of the game. And look what happens. The couple batters later, the Rangers load the bases and Helman makes Quintana throw off of makes him pay off of that one throwing error that, one missed spot that he had in tonight's action. Charles over on YouTube, can't win every night, I guess. Yelich making good contact at least. Suspect base running with a few guys. Great to see him in the lineup. There was another out that the Brewers ran into. Churio in the fourth inning trying to tag from first to second was also thrown out. So the Brewers kind of running into a couple of outs today. And I think that's, if you want to look at something that's frustrating, certainly that can be one of those things. The Blake Perkins, for me, one was frustrating because it felt like, man, if you're down 4-0, William Contreras puts a ball into a gap, like that lead's automatically cut in half, and you got Christian Yelich coming up right behind him, which Charles mentions making good contact, and Yelich did make good contact, and he spoke prior to the game, and I don't think there's going to be any concerns for him going forward with any injuries. He said he's good to go, so I will take his word for it. A tough one tonight for our Brewers, but they'll look to rebound tomorrow as they take on the Rangers in Game 2 of their 3-game series. I do not think that as of right now, as we are live on YouTube, a starter has been announced for Milwaukee. Jack Leiter getting the start on the other side for the Rangers. We will certainly break it down after the last out. That'll do it for tonight's program. A 5-0 loss for Milwaukee. However, my thanks to each and every one of you. Thank you guys for always tuning in. Thank you for always making Locked On Brewers part of your day each and every day. And as always, free and available wherever you guys get audio podcasts, Apple, Google, Spotify, Amazon. Wherever you get audio podcasts, you can listen to the Locked On Brewers postcast as well over on YouTube. Go to that search bar, type in Locked On Brewers, hit that subscribe button for me, hit that notification bell, get notified when we go live, and we will go live tomorrow after the last out. Tough one tonight, 5-0 loss at the hands of the Rangers in Texas. We'll see if they can bounce back tomorrow. And as always, win, lose, or draw, it is always go Brewers. Talk to you tomorrow. Have a good one. See you.